And that's not the first time we've seen this tactic, and the last time it actually worked. We reported on this too. The original Jane Doe, who filed civil suit against Diddy in late 2023.
Now on ABC News Live, a judge has denied bail for Sean Diddy Combs. Of course, this was the hip-hop mogul's latest bid for freedom as he remains in federal jail for his racketeering and trafficking case.
The courtroom drama surrounding two of the biggest names in music, Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z, has reached a boiling point, and the latest ruling has added even more fuel to the fire. Imagine this. A judge calls out one of the most high-profile attorneys in the industry, accusing him of wasting the court's time with unnecessary filings. That's exactly what happened here. But let's rewind for a moment to unpack how we got to this point, because this story is as layered and twisted as it gets.
And he's gone on to do incredible things, but he has a very specific style. And there's a lot of people who don't like that style. And Judge Torres is one of them. He's now twice kind of taken the reins and tried to take control of the narrative of cases by putting on sort of these preemptive press conferences. He did it with Mayor Adams, and he did it now with Jay-Z, where he goes to the press and essentially puts on a PowerPoint.
It all started with allegations that are as shocking as they are headline-grabbing. Jane Doe, the anonymous accuser at the center of this legal storm, claims she was a victim of unimaginable behavior at one of Diddy's infamous parties back in 2000. These weren't just any parties. They were the stuff of industry legend, attended by A-list celebrities, athletes, and influencers. But behind the glitz and glamour, Jane Doe alleges something far more sinister unfolded that night. According to her lawsuit, she was just a teenager when she encountered Diddy's limousine driver outside the MTV Video Music Awards. The driver, she claims, invited her to an after-party, making comments that, in hindsight, are as chilling as they are unsettling. She says he told her she fit what Diddy was looking for, steering her toward what would become a life-altering evening.
As far as, is he going to turn people in? Is he going to cooperate? If the federal government wants him to cooperate, and they're going to cut his time, because right now he's looking at 15 to life. With all the charges he has to, he won't get out till 70 years old. He about 70, that's when they start talking about letting him come to a halfway house.
The setting described in the lawsuit paints a picture of extravagant excess. Jane Doe says she was taken to a sprawling white mansion with a gated driveway, a location that, if true, sounds like something out of a music video. Inside, she recalls seeing celebrities she recognized mingling in what appeared to be a scene of unrestrained indulgence. This wasn't just a party, it was an event curated for the elite, with high-profile individuals and a palpable sense of exclusivity. But behind the facade of wealth and fame, Jane Doe alleges she was offered a drink that would set off a chain of events she is still grappling with decades later. She describes the beverage as tasting like a mix of fruit juices with something bitter added, something she now believes was meant to impair her judgment. Feeling unwell, she says she sought refuge in a quiet room, hoping to rest. But according to her account, what happened next was anything but restful. Jane Doe alleges that multiple individuals entered the room, including Diddy and two unnamed celebrities, one male and one female. The male celebrity, listed initially as Celebrity A, would later be identified as none other than Jay-Z. The female celebrity's identity remains a mystery, though speculation has run rampant, with whispers of her being someone equally high profile. What unfolded in that room, according to Jane Doe's lawsuit, is the basis of her legal claim, a claim that both Diddy and Jay-Z vehemently deny.
Sean is the one who pulled that gun out. Sean is the one who shot. So he has to take responsibility for that. He put that gun back in his waist.
Fast forward to the present, and this case has snowballed into a spectacle that has captivated public attention. While Diddy is already facing a mountain of legal and criminal issues, including charges that have landed him in federal custody, Jay-Z's involvement came as a bombshell when Jane Doe amended her lawsuit to name him directly. The Roc Nation mogul, known for his carefully curated public image and business acumen, was swift to respond, calling the allegations heinous and accusing Jane Doe's attorney, Tony Busby, of orchestrating a campaign to tarnish his reputation. Jay-Z has not minced words in his statements, going as far as to call this lawsuit a blackmail attempt, and he has vowed to fight it with everything he's got.
This morning, rap mogul Jay-Z is denying allegations he assaulted a 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs. That civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay-Z. The accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she was assaulted by both men.
Meanwhile, the legal teams on both sides are locked in a fierce battle. Jay-Z's attorney, Alex Spiro, has taken an aggressive approach, filing motion after motion to either unmask Jane Doe or dismiss the case altogether. Spiro argues that the accusations are riddled with inconsistencies and outright impossibilities. For example, Jane Doe claimed to have watched the MTV Video Music Awards on a large screen outside the venue, a screen that, according to Spyro, didn't exist that year. She also alleged that her father drove 5 hours to pick her up afterward, a detail her father has reportedly denied. But perhaps the most eyebrow-raising revelation came when Jane Doe admitted in an interview that she may have misidentified some of the people involved that night. These admissions, Spiro says, undermine the entire foundation of her claims.
In a blistering statement, Jay-Z accuses Jane Doe's attorney of trying to blackmail him. He said further, quote, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree?"
Despite Spiro's efforts, U.S. District Judge Annalisa Torres recently ruled that Jane Doe can remain anonymous for now. This decision is a significant win for Jane Doe and her legal team, as it allows her to maintain some level of privacy while the case moves forward. But it wasn't just the ruling that made headlines. It was the judge's sharp criticism of Spiro's tactics. In her written order, Judge Torres didn't hold back, describing his filings as combative and inflammatory. She went further, calling them inappropriate and a waste of judicial resources, adding that such tactics are unlikely to benefit his client. It's rare to see a judge publicly admonish an attorney in this way, and it signals that this case is already straining the patience of the court.
From Jay-Z, which is so forceful in its denial. I just read a teeny part of it, it's long, where he says that they should file a criminal complaint. Is that even possible at this point?
Jay-Z's legal team is likely feeling the sting of this rebuke, but they're not backing down. They argue that their client has a right to confront his accuser and that keeping Jane Doe anonymous hampers their ability to prepare an adequate defense. Spiro has also raised concerns about the conduct of Jane Doe's attorney, Tony Busby, accusing him of failing to properly vet his client's claims and suggesting that evidence could be destroyed. In one filing, Spiro even requested an emergency preservation order to ensure that all relevant evidence is safeguarded. The underlying message from Jay-Z's camp is clear. They are questioning the credibility of both the accuser and her legal representation.
Is more than annoyed would be an understatement.
Yeah.
He has a family and he has a lot to protect, including his brand. But to the extent that he's saying, hey, come after me criminally, that could be likely. Why do I say that? Because rape in New York, and what's alleged in this complaint, is forcible compulsion. What that means in English is that it's saying that he held her down, raped her.
But Busby is no stranger to high-stakes litigation. The Texas-based attorney has built a reputation as a fearless advocate for his clients, often taking on powerful figures and institutions. He has dismissed Spiro's allegations as baseless and has accused Jay-Z's team of engaging in a smear campaign to discredit Jane Doe. Busby has also hinted that more revelations could be on the horizon, adding another layer of intrigue to an already explosive case. And let's not forget, Busby represents a growing number of individuals who have filed lawsuits against Diddy, alleging various forms of misconduct. If these cases proceed, the legal battles could stretch on for years, with ripple effects that extend far beyond the courtroom.
Alex Spiro doing the exact opposite thing to help his client, but the judge really didn't like it. And so all of that is to say that this ruling, to me, is specifically directed at Alex Spiro, saying, I don't like what you're doing. I don't like all the motions you're filing. I don't like how you're going about handling this case. And if you continue to do it, you're not the only one who's got some tricks up their sleeve. I can also do things to make this process more difficult.
As for Diddy, his situation is even more precarious. The music mogul is currently behind bars, awaiting trial on federal charges that could carry severe consequences if he's found guilty. Yet, despite his mounting legal troubles, Diddy's team remains defiant, dismissing the lawsuits against him as shameless publicity stunts. They argue that these cases are designed to extract settlements from high-profile individuals who would rather pay to make the problem go away than endure the public scrutiny of a trial. But with Diddy's criminal case set to begin in just a few months, the stakes couldn't be higher. His trial is expected to be one of the most closely watched legal proceedings in recent memory, and its outcome could have far-reaching implications, not just for him, but for the entire entertainment industry.
Now, with respect to the evidentiary value, yes, it happened 24 years ago, right? More than 24 years ago. But in the allegations, there's a few things. Number one, there's allegation that another celebrity was present at the time, right, in addition to other people. Number two, there's the claim by the victim, right, that she left, that she went and she was seen by a gas attendant who saw her in distress.
The intersection of Diddy's federal case and the civil lawsuits against him creates a complicated legal landscape. On one hand, the criminal charges are based on evidence gathered through extensive investigations, including raids on his properties. On the other hand, the civil suits, like the one filed by Jane Doe, rely heavily on personal testimony and are subject to a different burden of proof. This dual-track legal battle adds another layer of complexity, as developments in one case could influence the other. For example, if new evidence emerges in the criminal case, it could either bolster or undermine the claims made in the civil lawsuits. Conversely, if Jane Doe's case gains traction, it could put additional pressure on Diddy as he prepares for his criminal trial. The public's fascination with these cases is understandable. They involve some of the biggest names in entertainment, allegations that are both shocking and salacious, and a cast of attorneys who are as high profile as their clients. But beyond the headlines, these cases also raise important questions about accountability, power dynamics, and the role of the media in shaping public perception. For Jane Doe, the decision to come forward, even anonymously, represents a significant act of courage. But for Jay-Z and Diddy, the stakes are equally high as their reputations, careers, and legacies hang in the balance.
So what happens now is this is simply a civil complaint. And in a civil complaint, it goes through the technical legal process. Now, the distinction, Jessica, between civil and criminal, of course, is that civil is for monetary damages, right? The system can only reward you with money. There's allegations that this 13-year-old is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, suffered depression, etc. So now you go to fact-finding, right?
And let's not forget the ripple effects on those around them. Beyonce, Jay-Z's wife, has remained silent on the matter, but insiders say she stands firmly by her husband. How this case impacts their family and their carefully managed public image remains to be seen. Meanwhile, Diddy's team is scrambling to control the narrative, insisting on his innocence while trying to discredit his accusers. The sheer scale of these legal battles, combined with the high stakes for everyone involved, ensures that this story is far from over. As the case moves forward, all eyes will be on the courtroom. Will Jane Doe's identity eventually be revealed? Will more names surface, pulling additional celebrities into the fray? And most importantly, will the truth, whatever it may be, come to light? For now, the only certainty is that this legal saga is just getting started. And here's where things get even more complicated. If you thought the first section laid all the cards on the table, buckle up, because this legal saga is far from over. The latest development in this high-stakes drama is a courtroom clash that's as much about strategy as it is about the allegations themselves. Jay-Z's legal team, led by the ever-combative Alex Spiro, has doubled down on their demands to unmask Jane Doe, claiming that anonymity at this stage is tipping the scales unfairly. Meanwhile, Jane Doe's attorney, Tony Busby, is fighting tooth and nail to keep his client's identity private, painting this as a battle against intimidation tactics designed to silence her. It's a game of legal chess, with every move scrutinized not just by the court, but by the public.
It's like a short win. It's really much more of a loss for the legal team of Jay-Z and Diddy.
Why would you say that? Because the judge was kind of harsh to Jay-Z and Diddy in her response?
Yeah, this is sort of like, you know, if a child asks you for something and you're trying to like teach them a lesson, you say, no, not right now. You know, go be good for a little while, then come back and ask me again.
Spiro isn't holding back. His strategy: discredit and dismantle. He's arguing that Jane Doe's claims are riddled with contradictions, which, according to him, make the entire case suspect. He's pointed out inconsistencies like her assertion that there was a large screen outside the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000, a detail he says can't be true because such a setup didn't exist that year. Then there's the issue of her alleged 5-hour journey back home, a story her own father reportedly disputes. And don't forget her admission in a televised interview where she conceded that she might have identified some people present that night. These details, Spiro argues, are enough to question the validity of her entire account. Mr. Carter deserves to know the identity of the person accusing him of such serious acts, Spiro declared in one of his filings, especially when her allegations are not just inconsistent, but outright impossible. But Busby isn't letting Spiro dictate the narrative. He's made it clear that his client's anonymity isn't just a legal privilege. It's a necessity. He's argued that revealing Jane Doe's identity would expose her to relentless public scrutiny and potential harm. According to him, the high-profile nature of this case has already put an unimaginable amount of pressure on her, and forcing her to come forward now would only make things worse. In a statement, Busby said, "This isn't about hiding. This is about protection. My client has already endured enough, and she deserves the right to tell her story without fear of retaliation." But here's where things take a turn. Judge Analisa Torres, whose fiery rebuke of Spiro's tactics made headlines, has hinted that this protection might not last forever. While she's allowed Jane Doe to remain anonymous for now, she's also made it clear that this decision could be revisited as the case progresses, and that's a crucial detail. It means that while Busby may have won this round, Spiro could very well come back swinging, especially if the court decides that revealing Jane Doe's identity is necessary for a fair trial.
because what the judge is doing currently is balancing the public's need for information and the defense's need for information so they can prepare for trial versus the effect that this will have on the alleged victim and her psyche. And obviously the world knows that as soon as her name is revealed, everyone is going to come down on her, from the media to her, to his attorneys, to the social media.
And let's not forget the potential implications of unmasking Jane Doe. If her identity becomes public, it could set off a chain reaction. For one, it would likely intensify the media frenzy surrounding this case, turning an already high-profile lawsuit into an already high-profile lawsuit into an even bigger spectacle. It could also open the door for other potential witnesses or accusers to come forward, either to support Jane Doe's claims or to challenge them. And then there's the ripple effect on Jay-Z and Diddy, whose reputations are already under fire. For Jay-Z in particular, the stakes couldn't be higher. His entire brand is built on the image of a self-made mogul, a family man, and an advocate for justice. These allegations threaten to dismantle that image, regardless of whether they're proven true or not.
It's obviously getting a whole new wave of attention and more focused attention on this victim. So I think it's going to be tied to the media cycle, if I had to guess, and how these rulings continue. And they have this celebrity name that is sort of waiting to take over the headlines when they choose to release it. So I think it will be added, but it's going to be a strategic time.
But while Jay-Z's legal team is focused on discrediting Jane Doe, Diddy's situation is a whole different beast. Unlike Jay-Z, who is facing a single civil lawsuit, Diddy is entangled in a web of legal troubles that span both civil and criminal courts. His federal charges, which include accusations of orchestrating elaborate schemes involving coercion and exploitation, have already landed him behind bars. And the civil lawsuits against him, they just keep piling up. Tony Busby alone is said to be representing over 100 individuals with claims against Diddy, and that's not even counting the cases brought by other attorneys. It's a legal nightmare, to say the least. One of the most damning aspects of Diddy's situation is the sheer volume of allegations. While each case is unique, the overarching narrative paints a picture of a man who allegedly used his wealth and influence to create an environment where boundaries didn't exist. If even a fraction of these claims are proven true, the fallout could be catastrophic, not just for Diddy, but for anyone who was complicit in his actions. And that's where things get even murkier. Because if Diddy's parties were indeed as wild as some claim, it's hard to imagine that other high-profile attendees didn't notice anything. That raises a complicated question: how much responsibility do bystanders bear in situations like this?
No, I'm not surprised by the ruling because, as she cited in her order, there are very serious allegations about the danger that he potentially poses to other witnesses and the public at large. There are allegations that he has, been violent with others. He's also attempted to allegedly intimidate other witnesses and still contact witnesses while incarcerated.
This question becomes even more relevant when you consider the other celebrity names that have been floated in connection with these cases. While Jay-Z is currently the only additional defendant named in Jane Doe's lawsuit, rumors have been swirling about the identities of other attendees at Diddy's infamous gatherings. From actors to athletes to fellow musicians, the list of potential witnesses or accomplices is long and star-studded. And while being present at a party doesn't automatically implicate someone, it does raise questions about what they might have seen or heard.
Buying it on, Kana, and safety can mean a couple different things. Safety just doesn't mean free from harm of violence. Safety can also too means emotional and mental dynamics that could occur by Sean Combs reaching out to potential witness to get them to possibly change their testimony.
So far, Jay-Z has maintained that he has no connection to any of the allegations against Diddy and insists that he's being unfairly dragged into a legal battle that has nothing to do with him. In a statement posted on social media, he wrote, "I have never met this accuser, and I have no idea who she is. These allegations are not only false, but defamatory. I will not allow my name to be tarnished by baseless accusations." But despite his denials, the court of public opinion is a tricky place, and the mere association with such allegations can be damaging. For someone like Jay-Z, whose reputation is a cornerstone of his empire, even unproven claims can have lasting consequences.
Obviously this civil suit was coming for a while.
Yep.
And there was some talk between Busby and Jay-Z's lawyers. I think both Busby and Jay-Z's lawyers are really alphas.
As this legal saga continues to unfold, the questions surrounding the case grow ever more complex. Do you believe that Jane Doe's anonymity should be protected, or should she be required to reveal her identity in the name of transparency? And what about the broader implications? Should celebrities be held to a higher standard of accountability, given their influence and power? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay tuned.